friends, it's me, Mrsroedee. Welcome to my channel, Healthy Living with Mrsroedee. Today's video is going to be about the Weight Watchers technique, and I'm going to read it to you, how to use gratitude to reach your goals. This topic is very near and dear to me, Back in 2009, I paid a visit to my sister, Donna, and on her coffee table, I found a book. It is called The Secret, written by Rhonda Byrne, Byrne, who is an Australian newscaster. And I picked it up and I couldn't put it down. And I asked my sister where she got this book, and I believe a friend had given it to her. She didn't have much interest in it, and so I asked her if I could borrow it, and I did, and I ended up keeping it. Along with that book, I purchased this. It's just a journal, plain writing paper. And as you can see, many of the pages are written in, going back to May 19th of 2009. And I must have seen my sister's birthday's in May. So I would imagine I was at her house that day celebrating her birthday. And that's when I was gifted with The Secret. Anyway, The Secret taught me so many things. And I am so grateful that I found that book and began, I'll say, studying it, because I really had to study it, because I did not really grasp the concept of living your life in a state of gratefulness, which I do now. And without getting all into that book, I'll put the link for it, I think for her website, where you can access if you're interested in learning more about it. But it definitely is living in a state of gratefulness. When you're in that state of mind, and I actually taught myself how to do this. You can't be anything else but grateful. I really believe this. You can't be depressed. You can't be angry. You can be happy, because when you're in this state of gratefulness, it is a very positive state to be in. So, for instance, in the morning, what I also did is, one second. A way that I remind myself to be grateful is I'd wake up in the morning and I would say a little prayer, thanking God for letting me live to see another day. I opened my eyes, and whatever the weather was out the window, I would say, you know, my eyes can see, and it's a wonderful thing. And I thank you, Lord, that I was able to wake up this morning and I can see the world through these eyes. What I did is I went to the dollar store. This particular rock, it says Remember, I purchased at Christmas Tree Shop for $1.49. At the time, I went to the dollar store, and I'm sure that you've seen these types of rocks in the dollar store. They have all different kinds for all the different holidays too. And I placed these rocks around my house in spots where I knew I would see them. For instance, if I was sitting in the morning with my coffee, I would see a rock from where I was on the couch. It would be in clear view, and I used that as a reminder to think of something to be grateful about. Sounds crazy, right? But this is literally what I did. And every day I would write in my journal some things to be grateful for. Not hard to do when you start doing it. Lord, I'm grateful for, and you don't have to be religious to do this. You can just put it out to what is termed the universe. And just state it to yourself, repeat it to yourself, whatever it is that you might be thinking of that you're grateful for. For most of us, it'll be different things, but for some of us, it might also be things like, I'm grateful for my family. In here, I've read back to myself, I'm grateful for my sons, the accomplishments they made. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for my pets. I'm grateful for family members. I'm grateful for the fact that, again, I'm here to live another day. And how am I going to make the most of my day in positivity? Things like that. So this, as it applies to weight loss, in other words, if you're in a state of gratitude, it will supposedly, as it is talking about in the technique within the Weight Watchers app, if you're technically rewiring your brain. We are wired to, for whatever the reason, and again, this is what's posed in the technique, not necessarily what I 100% agree with, But it is much easier to focus on the negative, whether our brain is wired to do it that way or not. I'm sure most of you would agree with me that it's very easy to go down that negative road. The cup is half full, especially when you're trying to do something to create big change in your life. And getting healthy is, for most of us, requiring us to work very hard to bring that change. And it's not always a great feeling. It's not always something that we're happy about. In the beginning, we're in the honeymoon phase. We have a plan. We're all excited. But then as the weeks progress, maybe we have a stall. Maybe we had a gain that we were not expecting, because we crossed all the T's and dotted the I's and did all the hard work, the exercise, the whole shebang. And now here we went on the scale and it went up. Kind of hard in that situation, maybe, to feel grateful. How do we turn that around? Well, I've said many times since I started making videos, since August of 2021, in my desperation, I kind of put the secret, or I should say, gratefulness into work. I became very grateful, I've said this many times, that the scale stayed the same when the first time that happened. I was elated, actually, like somebody might be if they've lost 2 pounds in a week associated with that. I was at least that grateful, if not 1,000 times more grateful, and expressing my gratefulness, in my case, to Lord, because I do practice Roman Catholicism, and that is my belief system. Call it the universe, call it what you like. I was grateful to myself for having accomplished that. I was grateful to my calorie counting to accomplish that. So what do we do when we go up in the scale? Kind of really not a time that we might want to be feeling grateful. But if we think on it in advance before that occurs, if it does occur, we might come up with some things to tell ourselves that in a state of gratefulness that will make it easier and turn it into a positive. Well, yeah, so the scale went up, but I'm only grateful that I can maybe do X, Y, and Z next week, that maybe instead of looking at this as the end of the world, because it isn't the end of the world, it really isn't, but we may feel that way, and rightfully so. What are the things I'm going to do that are going to get me through this? The next time it happens, if it's never happened, we might be planning ahead for it to happen. What are some things we can tell ourselves that are positive in the theme of gratefulness that will make it easier for us to get through that and to continue on our path to getting healthy? Because that is really the goal. Those moments are going to happen. It's inevitable that they're going to happen, especially if we have lots of poundage to lose. And then it's also going to be more difficult at the end of that journey of losing that weight. When we have the last 5 or 10 pounds to lose, it becomes very difficult for most of us to get that off. And we have to try even harder. So in the theme of gratefulness, we should focus more on the big picture, I think. In looking at, if you looked in the Facebook group this week, I did post 2 different things. I posted the linear of the weight loss, the plan that we have, and what actually ends up happening, all the zigzags. Planning for those zigzags, using gratefulness to do that. There's plenty of other things besides the scale. Okay, so the scale went up this week. There's lots of reasons that can happen that have nothing to do with anything that you did all week long to make it not happen and to maybe try to lose some pounds. But keeping ourselves focused on what did we do great this week? We walked, maybe. We weighed and measured our food and tracked. Maybe we ate healthier food items than we did the week before. We drank our water. Focusing on that is what is going to get you to your goal. Not that this week the scale said you went up 2 pounds. Does that make sense? So again, I think of that in a state of gratefulness, bringing the positivity. And the more we practice trying to be in a state of gratefulness, the more successful we will be in our lives in general, because we'll be happier people. Because when we're not feeling so grateful or feeling like being in a state of gratefulness, we're probably either feeling okay or feeling negative. And negative feelings do not bring anything good to our lives. I don't know anybody who lives in a state of negativity that's a happy person, that's well. And believe it or not, feeling negative is also very stressful and bringing bad things to your body. Nothing good is happening. You're stressed. Your adrenaline is up. So many physiological things are not going well for you when you are in a state of negativity and feeling down and out. And I'm sure that if you recall what that feels like, you're probably going to agree with me on that it's doing nothing good for your body. It's not bringing you to health. It is actually detrimental and going in the other direction. So, on that note, this is how we're ending off the 2022 year. And thinking about things, and I'll go back to my book and refer to some of the things that are discussed in the regarding the technique. Notice what good things are going on in yourself. Maybe get a journal and write it down. A lot of people journal, and I think that for me anyway, when you write, it actually brings yourself to another level of awareness because it involves body movement and tactile sensitivity. You're actually reading it back to yourself. You can refer back to how you're feeling and the positive thoughts that you're putting on paper. So it just reinforces you're trying to be a more grateful person in terms of staying in a state of gratitude. So sparking feelings of gratitude helps you increase, as I said, your happiness and helps you to stay on track. And I believe it really actually does. When I was focusing, and believe me, this last year, and it's now a year and a half soon, it is almost, I learned a lot about myself. I learned more about myself than I have learned in over all the years of my dieting. And again, I don't call it dieting because I don't like that word diet that's in there. I call it getting healthy because healthy has the word heal. And I say this all the time, and I think it's important to refer back to that because when you're healing yourself, it's part of getting healthy. And I think that being in a state of gratefulness and learning, teaching yourself how to do more of that is also healing. It's very healing emotionally, which leads to physical healing. So, celebrating your successes is very important. However small you may think they are, they accumulate over time. And it is very important for you to put some focus on that. Give yourself the credit where it's deserved. It does not mean that you're being an egotistical, self-centered person. It means that you are aware of the good work that you have done, because this is hard work, and it's the hardest thing most of us have ever done, or tried to do. And we need to recognize that, and we need to celebrate that whenever we can. So looking for blessings in hardship. As I said, for me, let's say, this is an example I always use, has nothing to do with weight loss. I am sitting in traffic. I am annoyed. The person in front of me is doing 30 in a 50, and I can't go around them. There's nothing I can do. I'm fearing that I'm going to be late for an appointment. I hate to be late. I always like to be early. Even more than on time, I like to be early. So now I am really getting myself worked up, saying some choice words behind that wheel to myself and to whoever's in there with me. Could be Jim. Usually he's not the best, he's not the happiest receiver of that language, but it does happen. I'm being really honest with you. But then at some point in time, this happens more than not now. I say to myself, you know what? This person in front of me might just be stopping me from getting in a fatal car accident, and I will never know that. Think about it. That's just a small example, but it is one that does come up on a regular basis in my life. And before I read The Secret and learned about The Secret and read a couple of books out there on the topic, I would have never thought to even do that. So what does that do? It smacks me into reality. It smacks me into a state of positivity, because now I'm being grateful that this car was in front of me, because they very well, pardon me, may have stopped me from getting in a fatal car accident, or maybe even causing one by accident, because accidents happen, right, when you're driving. So that's my little take on practicing trying to be in a state of gratitude rather than being negative and that angry person, which again is not really bringing anything good to my life. It's really not. It's not that person I like to be. I'd much rather be a positive, happy person. I think most of us would, but it does take practice. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't. It does not it happen without practice. Being grateful is not the same as being in a state of gratefulness. Again, I repeat, I think most of us are very grateful people, different from a state of gratefulness. Okay, so be grateful about the people in life that are supporting you. Take life one day at a time. Again, I'm looking down because I'm reading notes that I made. I apologize. Keep in mind that it's easier to focus on negative things for most of us than it is on positive. So don't feel alone in the world about this, if that's what you think is happening with you, especially as it relates to weight loss. It's very easy to get down the dumps and get angry. You know, why is this happening? I hate this diet, type of thinking, as opposed to looking at it in a positive light, finding things to be grateful about, light. Gratefulness will shift your attention from being negative to being positive. I think I've already said that. And it does eventually take hold. It does take practice. How much practice it will take for you, I don't know. Go to the dollar store, buy these rocks. $1.49. You can even get them for 99 cents at Christmas tree. Get yourself some rocks. Put them in places in your house where you can't miss them when you maybe sit down to watch TV, to grab for your remote, when you go to have coffee or tea in the morning, when you go to have your lunch during the day. Put them in places where you will see them, and they will become reminders to you to be grateful in your mind about something. And the more you practice that, the easier this becomes. I cannot stress enough that it is a great, it will bring so much positivity to your life in general, and certainly in your journey to getting healthy. So on that note, I'm going to thank you all very much for if you lasted this long in this video, more power to you. Thank you so much. And if you have not subscribed and would consider doing that, I'd greatly appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything. You will hit the bell to get notified whenever I upload a video. And once again, I want to thank you all very much. Be blessed. Happy New Year in the 2023 to come. And please take good care of yourself. That is something that no one else can do for you. Others can help you to try to do that, but it has to come from within yourself. You have to be the person that decides to do that. I wish you well in your journey, and I give you all the support I can from the bottom of my heart. Please reach out. We have a Facebook group that's wonderful. We have usually, hopefully starting up in the new year again, a weekly face-to-face group through Messenger on Facebook. And we'd love to have you there if you'd want to join us. You can reach me through my email. All the social media contact information is in the description video of this video. And if you have any questions, post them here as well. You're always welcome to. Thank you very much. And I'm going to see you again in the new year. Bye for now.